Good morning, everyone. My name is Geomark Benello. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I am the Mentorship Program's Leadership Advisor in the Center for Cultural Inclusive Excellence. Before we begin, I wanted to share some tips to enhance today's program experience. ASL interpretation is available and should be visible throughout the presentation. If you cannot see the interpreter, try switching to gallery view in the top right corner of Zoom window. This program is also being recorded and will be available on CLS YouTube page in a few days. If you have questions for our presenters, please use the Q&A feature. Click the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen to type in your questions. You can add questions at any time. We cannot see or hear our attendees, so if you have a technical problem or event question, use the chat feature. Click on the chat button to reach the session host. You are also welcome to use the chat function throughout the program to connect with other attendees. When using the chat, you can select the recipients as all panelists, which will send you your message only to those of us behind the scenes, or all panelists and attendees, which will be visible to everyone. We would also appreciate it if you could check in using our Google form. The URL is being posted in the chat. By checking in, you will help us keep track of how many students we are serving with these programs and to get to know a little bit more about you. Thank you for your support. We would now like to collectively take a moment to acknowledge all Indigenous and First People of the land and space in which we live and breathe. For our community at Highline College, we recognize that we are on occupied Duwamish, Coast Salish, Muckleshoot, and Puyallup lands, and we want to thank all relations and tribes today as we prepare to hold space as a community. We recognize that all of us are joining this conversation from different areas, so we also want to invite you to reflect and thank Indigenous and First People of the land and space in which you are coming from. Thank you. Thank you all for joining us for Coffee with Wellness. We have two guests with us today to talk about some of the resources available at Highline to support your overall wellness. I would now like to hand the microphone to our hosts for this morning's event, Doris and Thomas.
Good morning, Highline.
What up, Highline? Thank you, Gio, for the introduction. Welcome, Highline. Happy Wednesday, day 3 of ThunderWeek.
You all made it halfway through your first week of the quarter. Congratulations.
Yes. Thomas, I'm nosy, so you know I'm gonna ask. What are you drinking, and what's on your mug here? See some.
Obviously, someone wasn't paying attention to the chat before they.
I was. You said something about green matcha or something like that.
Yeah, so I got some passion fruit matcha green tea. It is from Yogi Tea. And this mug I got in Mexico when I went to Puerto Vallarta.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
And it's a beautiful handmade, and of course, you know me, limited edition mug. So
I can't. That's great. It's beautiful. I am drinking hot cider tea today. It's really good, and it has my name on it. It's actually my mom's mug. Don't tell her that I'm using it, okay?
ooh, I'm gonna call her right now.
Please don't. But super excited for our conversation today. We have two incredible colleagues. Yeah, please don't tell my mom. Two incredible colleagues that are joining us today to really talk about wellness. And this year 2020 has been something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And really testing our wellness and really trying to figure out ways to center that in our lives. So let's bring up our guests today, Joshua and Fousey, and have them introduce themselves. Good morning, friends.
Good morning, Doris. Hi, Thomas. It's good to see you and it's good to be here. Highline, what's up?
Good morning, everybody.
Oh my gosh, so happy to have y'all here. Josh, if you can go first, if you can introduce yourself, title of your position and how your department serves our students here at Highline College. And then Fuzi, you can go after.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. And it's always a pleasure to share space and screen and all that fun stuff with you all. And Fozzie, again, good to see you as well and be here today to kind of kick things off with Thunder Week. I'm using my unicorn mug just to kind of chime in on the coffee talk with y'all and the coffee wellness. And my little unicorn says, don't let anyone ever dull your sparkle. And so I'm a faculty counselor on campus. I teach College 100, so college success skills, and I'm co-teaching that this year with Crystal Welch, who is the Learning Communities Program Manager. And so we are piloting this College 100 this year. So if folks are still looking, if you identify as part of the BIPOC community, please come join. We've got space for you all. Moving towards my positionality on campus, again, I'm a faculty counselor, and so I provide clinical counseling for folks in the counseling center. You can see us stepping into our Zoom room. We've got drop-in spots available, and you can also set up individual appointments with any of the counselors on campus. And one of the things I like to tell students all the time is it's free. It's a part of the student activity fees that you pay for. So why not use it? And the students that I've met already this week, it's been fantastic. And so you are seen, you are heard, and we are here for you. Beyond Highline, I'm involved in all kinds of things. I play sports. I love to exercise and work out. I'm an old collegiate baseball player, and also have a private practice and consulting business outside of Highline. So super busy, but super down and excited to be here with you and share space.
Welcome, Josh. Thank you.
Hello, Highline. My name is Fouseybello. I'm going to share my mug first because this is a special mug. It has my name on it, and it was given to me by a former student athlete, and it was as a gift token as for the end of the year session. It was a unified student. So, and I love this, and we're going to talk about that. And inside the mug, there is a balance. I don't know how I did today with balancing the two teas that I'm supposed to mix. I'm originally from Algeria, and my grandma always made us this tea, and it's made out of two herbs that are mixed together, and you have to get the right amount for it to be therapeutic, I should say. So I did my best, not as close to my grandma, but it still tastes pretty good, and I'm excited to be here. So thank you for providing this opportunity for us to be here. Thank you to CLS. You're amazing. You do amazing work. So thank you for serving our students and providing an opportunity for our students to stay connected. So my work with the college, I work in outreach services. So part of my role is to connect with the community, to connect with students outside the community, and try to get them access to the college. And that's what I call my job, and my passion is sports. So I do. We have a unified sports club on campus, and last year I taught a class called Unified Sports, and that's for students with and without intellectual disabilities, and it's a course that provides an opportunity for inclusion, for providing creating a platform for a healthy lifestyle. So we address sports, we address nutrition, and we talk about how to create an environment where you're living stress-free and finding outlets to release stress. I'm also involved with the men and the women's soccer team, so I help out with the program. I love our T-Birds. I love all of our sports, and I'm excited to get going this year, despite all the COVID thing. So anyway, it's great to see everybody. And I'm happy to be here as a resource. If you want to get involved with Unified Sports, please feel free to reach out. Our information is on the chat now. So please shoot me an email. We're happy to get you involved in some of the activities. We are doing Zoom workouts. We're going to start doing those. So if you're interested in jumping in, love to have you. So, all right.
The Zoom workout sounds legit. So can't wait to hear more
Yeah.
about
that. Students, because Doris and I forgot to introduce ourselves, just in case you haven't been with us during ThunderWeek. My name is Thomas Bowie. I am the director of our Center for Leadership and Service. I go by he, him, his pronouns. And welcome to our chat today.
Yes, always forget that. Doris Martinez, she, her pronouns, and I serve as the director for the Center for Cultural and Inclusive Excellence. Welcome to Coffee with Wellness, y'all.
So you'll see, for those returning, today's theme is wellness, both mental and physical wellness. You know, as you all can see, if you haven't noticed yet, the departments we're highlighting all week long are resources available to you all as students for free. So please take advantage of these things, especially during this pandemic. We know it may be challenging to be in community, but there's a community here for you all. But speaking of wellness, I guess a question for Fouzy and Josh, what does wellness look like for you all right now? Like, how are you all coping with and adapting and this pandemic as we are online this quarter?
Yeah, wellness for me right now looks like taking care of self. I think culturally, it would probably described or be seen as selfish and self-indulgent and stepping into my own, saying no when I need to say no. And so wellness really is kind of paying attention to what my body needs. As I'm working with clients and students and even teaching in class, right? It really is about trying to grab a rhythm of where everybody is and paying attention to that. And in my community around me, I live in West Seattle. And so making sure that I'm stepping outside and kind of acknowledging what's going on today. I had coffee outside and you can kind of see the fog and the smoke that has come back. And so just acknowledging that that's in the space. But also wellness is about acknowledging what I'm grateful for. And that's something that I practice daily. When I wake up in the morning, before I talk to anybody, before I turn on the TV, reach for my cell phone, which we all are just, I mean, it should just be attached to all of us, right? I sit in bed and I lay down for 4 minutes and do nothing but just think about what I'm grateful for, like my breath, right? And just allow my body to settle into the day and how I'm going to navigate today's day. And that really has helped me stay grounded, especially over this past 6-7 months or so, and to acknowledge that there's a lot that's beyond my control. And so in that moment, I've got a decision, right? And a choice to decide if I want to continue to participate in the things I have no control over, or go inside and focus on the things that I do, for instance, behavior, mood, etc. And so that's kind of what wellness means to me.
Thank you. Yeah, I moved into a new home at the start of the pandemic, so I have like a long list of friends and family who like want to come over, and I'm just like, no, sorry, I'll be selfish and make sure I stay safe. So
continue on with that.
Fouzy, what about yourself?
Absolutely echo Josh. It's really important for me to take care of myself first so I can take care of others, right? So wellness is centered around, as Josh mentioned, is making sure that I'm okay so everybody else is okay in my community. So, and with that being said, I do get up in the morning. I try so hard not to reach out for my phone, especially today, you know, but you know, it's important to get outside. It's important to find that routine. And I look at wellness and I prioritize wellness as well. for me, and it could be different for everyone, for me, spiritual wellness is important. So I get up, I reflect, I watch my breath, I think about the grateful things I have, I think about my health, and I think about, you know, what I have going on that I take for granted at times, right? And that's the biggest, that's the first thing. And then my physical wellness. So I go out for a run, I get outside, I you know, try to get my heart rate up, try to I'm a big runner now, so I go on long runs and just kind of reflect and try to get my body energized and a little tired. It's okay to get physically tired. I think there's a lesson there in all of us to you know, there's nothing better now for me than to go out on a longest run and then come home and take a shower and then have a glass of tea, you know, a cup of tea. So so just that checking in with yourself. And then the last piece is the nutrition piece. I've been really particular about modifying my habits and what to eat and how to eat, and just reading a little bit about nutrition and what to put into my body, so I can stay healthier and make better decisions and be alert and help my community. So those are the things that I when I think about wellness. And then family. My wife is giving me a dirty look over there. We should come first, according to her. So family is important. I have a 5-year-old, and his smile lights up my day. You know, my wife too. By the way, you too. So it's really it's an important piece to spend quality time. We're working from home, but we, you know, the plus side of that is I have never spent so much time with my son, and it's been phenomenal. So it's been good. So trying to find the positives in things. That makes sense. So
Thank y'all
I
both.
love that you're talking about that, Fuzi. Like, you know, when we show up for ourselves first, like you and I are both kind of talking about, we can be our best to everyone else. So say hello to your wife from me. But you know, I mean, it really is dope, and that's the gooch about it, right? Like when we're able to be in ourselves and really embody that, we can be more positive. We even have more bandwidth to offer. And, you know, I talk to clients all the time around buckets. Like if our bucket is empty and there's no water left inside, who are we going to give that to? And so we got to make sure that it's full. And so I'm totally loving the exercise and getting that heart rate up, you know, and so I got to dip into my undergrad sometimes too, and kind of check myself a little bit.
Thank y'all both for that. As someone who like suffers through depression and anxiety, quarantine has been very heavy for me personally. And I know as we continue on with this pandemic, also my physical wellness has taken a big toll as someone who's like very active and has an active social life. So what would be recommendations from the both of you to our community today if we're feeling stuck and really trying to, you know, get our mental health back on track, trying to get our physical wellness, even spiritual wellness, like you were talking about, Fuzi, earlier, back on track, especially as the weather is changing, the season is changing, we're going into fall, it's getting darker, and the continuation of, you know, COVID-19 and flu season coming up.
I actually have a top 6 that I look at, and I just sent it to Thomas. So hopefully we can get that added to the chat lines. And these are daily questions we can ask ourselves, especially because we're in quarantine currently, right? And you're exactly right, Doris. One of the challenges I think for folks in the Pacific Northwest is our weather, and as it's starting to move. And so I'm hoping, like, I mean, I think we're supposed to hit 80 or something this week, which is super amazing. And so I will be outside in it. But I think it's important that we acknowledge that, yes, it's coming. And so what are the ways in which in the past we have navigated through those times, right? I'm from Arizona. And so having the sun has like been a godsend to me, right? And so being up here when the rain and the clouds and the dark doom and gloom come in, I have to find new ways to navigate. So it means me making sure that I do get outside, like Fuzi was saying, making sure that I exercise, because even getting outside, even if it's raining, that is so good for us. And especially now as we're social distancing, it's important that we stay active. So that top 6, and it's been in the chat, is what am I grateful for today, right? So we got to ask ourselves, reflect on that, and really come up with them. Sometimes I tell clients, give me maybe your top 3, or give yourself your top 3 moments of gratitude. Who am I checking in on or connecting with today? Sometimes that means us, or who's on the screen today, and seeing faces and connecting that way. And who haven't I talked to in a long time? Because even sparking that new conversation gets new energy and excitement. The expectations of normal, and what am I letting go of today, right? Folks are using this term, let's get to this new normal, let's move to this new normal. Guess what? Normal doesn't exist. It's just different, right? Like, we can be our best selves, our best whatever that means, and dream it up. I don't ever want to be normal. How am I getting outside today? I think that kind of goes to what we were talking about in terms of our exercise. And if you can't get outside, maybe you've got something inside your home that you can exercise with or whatnot. It even just takes 5, 15 minutes, 20 minutes at the most, but get moving. How am I moving my body today? Most of us and students, you all out there, are in classes. And so, like, as you're in class, stretch, right? Like, do the chair yoga, pull your feet up and stretch them hips. Like, truly get the body and the joints moving. It's so good for us. And then finally, what beauty am I either creating, cultivating, or inviting in today, right? And so it's so amazing when we're able to get out there and see somebody maybe on a walk or as we're biking, and just give them a little hello, or reach out to someone we haven't talked to. This morning, Fuzi said, Josh, it's so good to see your face. I've not seen you. And that excited me. It like sparked some energy within me. And so it's those types of things. And that's kind of how I am starting to prepare my clients and my students for fall and winter.
Yeah, absolutely. And Josh, you're spot on. I love I'm going to use your 6. That's amazing. I'm always looking for ways to improve, and it's a process. And I think and it's okay to have an off day. Okay, it's okay. Let's just be realistic, because when you talk about wellness, it's a process, and it's not. I try to exercise every day, for example. And there's days where I don't exercise. And the minute I start to feel guilty about it, then I just say, hey, it's okay. And I think it's important to kind of bring yourself back, and just to think about it in terms of a process and a lifestyle. One thing that helps me stay healthy and stay focused is I look at my wellness as a lifestyle, and I try to learn about the correlation between the physical and mental health. Sometimes we tend to think about physical health and mental health in 2 different categories, and I've been guilty of that before. There are times in my life, and I'm a soccer player. I played soccer my whole life, and there are times where I was the fittest I've ever been in my life and felt really invincible in terms of my physical health, but I was really vulnerable in terms of my mental health, And I think finding a right balance between the 2, and finding a way where you can really reflect and assess your wellness, and whatever that means for you, is important. So exercising, paying attention to your food, the sleep piece. I cannot stress this. I've been reading so much about sleep and the effect on our stress level, and effect of our mental health and our physical health as well. Sleep is an opportunity for our body to rest, but and I've been guilty of that. I disturb it with lights. I disturb it with having a cell phone next to me. I disturb it with other things. So I have to make sure my sleeping environment is completely dark. And there's a lot of research that shows that if you sleep in a dark environment, there are better productions of hormones that can help you cope with stress, right? So doing a little bit of research, and And just to echo what Josh said, positivity is important, right? It's sometimes I look outside and I say, well, it's raining today. I don't want to go for a run. And then I get in my car and drive and I see someone else running. I'm like, oh, they were able to do it. So, and then I just give myself that talk, you're not going to melt in the rain, so you'll be okay. However, just making sure I'm looking out for myself and continuing to research and improve my health as I go. It is a process. Check in with yourself. It's okay to have a good day. It's okay to have an off day. It's just finding a good balance. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And both of you, thank you for naming that, right? Like, I think it's so important for us to say that, like, it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay to have off days. I think that's so important to realize that, like, in a world of like social media where we see people only posting like super positive, like wellness things, there's another side to that story. And that everyone has their off days, and that it's perfectly fine and okay. And so I'm so glad that you all named that for us. We're running short on time here, so we have probably room for one more question. I'm thinking about our students and our community who are still figuring out, like, what does wellness look like for them. And so I just wanted to ask you all if you all could share, like, where's a place they can start, or like what's something they can do that's like small, and so that they can get on track with their wellness, whether that's physical or mental.
We can like, I think in the chat, I tossed in there a couple of hashtags that I use on Instagram, via Facebook, etc. The first one is hashtag mistake away, right? Like, we have to provide ourselves with grace and gratitude. Like, yeah, the days are going to happen and we just got to let that be. The other one is hashtag imperfectly perfect, because us being imperfect really is allowing us to be perfect. So it's about mindset and changing language that we've used, right? It's a reframe. Like Fouzy said, oh my gosh, it's raining outside. I can't go do that. And instead saying like, well, what would it take for me to get outside and run today, right? It's just that reframe and the language that we use, right? Like, I can't, I shouldn't, or I should have, I could have. Those will tear us apart. But in allowing ourselves to think about the thoughts that do come up, because when we don't give them space and acknowledge what it is that we are thinking about, we just repress, we push down, and then we can't let them go, right? It's like ants. I like to tell clients, it's like ants at a picnic. They will be there no matter what, right? So we've got two choices. One, continue to just pat them or kill them, right? And shush them away. Or we can invite them in, acknowledge, make peace with them, honor them, give ourselves some grace, and then allow ourselves to move forward.
Absolutely. And I like I said, I echo, you're spot on, Josh. I think paying attention to your self-talk. What are you telling yourself? Is it positive? How much of that is positive, and how much of that is bringing you down? Okay. And I think that's a really big thing that I'm practicing constantly. I try to get better. I want to improve my emotional intelligence. I want to be able to read people and be more empathetic. But I think I have to listen to myself first to be able to listen to others. I think that piece is really, really important in terms of creating the environment that I'm in. Okay? I'm in control of my day, whatever it looks like. So I'm allowed to let things in and close things out. And I think it's really important. And self-talk plays a huge role in that, right? Now you're constantly telling yourself, okay, it's what you're telling yourself, how, that. So that would be a good way to start, is just start to pay attention to that, and try to alter your thought process and your patterns. I think that would be it's very, very difficult practice, but it's important. Okay? If you could do that a little bit every day, or just be aware of it, it's important. Second thing I learned, this is a really nutrition. I love to eat everything. I always overeat. So, and sometimes there's wisdom. My grandma used to always say, just fill your tummy with three things, okay? A third water, a third food, and a third with air. So I've been practicing that. So I'm not overeating too much, So so little simple things like that. When I go to the grocery store, I try to stay on the outside of the grocery store. Think about all the perishable goods, things that have that can get in and out of the grocery store on the outside, right? Once you get into the aisles, you're like, okay, I'm probably not eating something that's as healthy as I should be eating, right? So I try to get out of there and stay closer to the edges. So just little tips like that that can help you alter your lifestyle and improve in that. And there's challenges you could do. Steps is a big one too. You can count your steps. You can do things like that. I think that's an important piece that can challenge you physically as well. So
that was amazing. That is so much. I think it's really trying to find your own rhythm, right? In terms of what works for you, and also understanding what works for you one day may not work the next day as well. And I feel like those are things that y'all both chimed in on this morning as well. Really finding your own rhythm and how to really take care and listen to your body. I think something, and I know that we're about to run out of time, but also really thinking of how, when we, especially for a lot of students, folks of color, come from historically marginalized communities, rest was not an option. And so I feel like, how do we reclaim that ability right now to be able to rest, to really be able to take care? And the concept of self-care, even from generation to generation, looks so different. I know, even having conversations with my mom, she's like, what's that? And she's just now at 65 understanding self-care. So I think also understanding that that's going to look different, and really trying to hone in on what your self-care looks like for you, and not like for other people in your family, or community, etc. Because that can get really complex too, especially during this time.
I think Fuzi said it best, and it doesn't have to take a long time. My mom's, she'll be 69. She's got to have shoulder surgery in a few weeks. And she is texting me every morning at 6 a.m. Josh, I just got my 5,000 steps in. And then in the evening, doing the same thing. I got another 4,000. And I'm like, Mom, that's super dope. That's awesome. Because ultimately, like your mom, Doris, they're learning now that it's actually okay to allow themselves to breathe and allow themselves a space that they've always had. But it's about that mind shift. It's about acknowledging we do that and we should do that. And I want to do that. So I love that. I love hearing that.
Yes. Was this food for the soul, y'all? Because I really feel like that should have been today's today's title of our conversation. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Fuzi, for your knowledge. And how fortunate are we to have both of you on our campus every single day doing this heart work. So thank you all so much for being in community with us. Y'all are both phenomenal.
I love you guys too.
We'll pass it back over to our LPT team to make our closing announcements for the session.
Thank y'all. Thank you, Fuzi. Thank you, Joshua.
You.
Show them how I love y'all.
So amazing. Thank you so much, everyone who attended. Sorry, let me close all these windows here. Thank you, everyone who attended our Coffee with Wellness this morning. And thank you so much to Josh and Fuzi for participating today. I feel like it was just rest for me to get to listen in and hear all of these tips and just kind of thinking about those things. So really appreciate, and I hope everybody attending got something out of this as well. In the chat box, you will find a link to our ThunderWeek feedback form. Your feedback is really critical in enhancing our program, so we would greatly appreciate you sharing your thoughts. And a reminder that if you did not check in when you arrived, please do so before you leave. Be sure to join us for more Thunder Week events this week. Coming up later today at 1 p.m., we will have a clubs mixer. This event is an opportunity to connect with student leaders from clubs that are starting up or resuming this fall, so you can learn a little bit more about a club before the first meeting or just explore your interests. And then after that, later this afternoon at 2:30, we will have the Intercultural Center virtual visit where you can meet the ICC peer facilitators and experience a little bit of the social justice discussions that they hold each quarter in the ICC, including in the virtual ICC. And tomorrow morning is our next Coffee With event. So we'll be back with Thomas and Doris and some additional guests that will be Coffee With Pathways. So that is at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. And you can find the full Thunder Week schedule at cls.highline.edu/ThunderWeek. Be sure to follow CLS and CCIE on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date on our upcoming programs and learn more about us and our student leaders. And if email is more your speed, you can subscribe to our biweekly email newsletter, and the bit.ly is going in the chat and is up on your screen. So thank you all again for attending this morning. We hope to see you soon at some more Thunder Week events. Have a great rest of your day.